Alright, what's going on everyone? In this video, I want to show off my tier 5 Starfire Protocol build. I've seen a lot of you ask for updating my older builds to tier 5 versions once I actually do get the tier 5 gear, and this is now what I am going to say is the best Starfire build in the game. Now in this video, I'm not going to go too crazy in depth with how Starfire works or anything. I have a whole separate video if you'd like to check that out, and a bunch of other content creators have made great guides as well, so be sure to give them a watch too. However, in this one, I mainly want to focus on the tier 5 aspect, the armor set bonuses, the best ways to mix and match your stats, and even show off how you can run this completely with new gear so you can do things like conquest and also just take advantage of all the new gear bonuses. I spent an absurd amount of time trying to farm all of this armor in the Caldera mines just so I could get this out for you all as quick as possible. Since this is going to take advantage of Solstice gear, I know that it is a limited time event, so hopefully this video can help you figure out if you want to go farm for it while you still have time. Unfortunately, that does mean the best Starfire build in the game is only going to be here for a limited amount of time, so if you really do enjoy this and you want to try it out for yourself, I would highly recommend trying to go get this set up right now. You don't have to get tier 5s, but obviously if you do get tier 5s, you will get more stats and more things you can play around with. But regardless of that, this is still one of the most synergistic and just best all-around builds in the game, especially on Warlock. It does an insane amount of damage, you have an insane amount of survivability, it's fun to play. Not only can you spam abilities, but your guns are also going to be a ton of fun to use as well, and it's definitely one of those builds you're going to want to have saved in a loadout slot pretty much all the time. So if you all do enjoy and learn anything new, consider doing all the normal YouTube stuff. All of the support really does go a long way, and I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much for clicking on the video, and let's jump right into it. All right, so like I said at the beginning, this whole video is going to be all about just what we can improve on a basic Starfire build, talking about our armor bonuses, the stats, things we can swap out weapons wise, and all of the sort. However, as a quick rundown, if you don't know how Starfire works, basically you get an additional fusion grenade. On top of that, when you are radiant, you can deal damage. It's going to grant fusion grenade energy, and when you get kills, it grants a huge chunk of energy. So essentially, you just always want to be radiant, which you will be with this build. You can spam grenades over and over, and you're going to make your grenades do a ton of damage. Now, the things in the subclass that will help out with that is obviously we have to take fusion grenade, but you also want to take touch of flame so your fusion grenade can explode twice. Now, for the other aspect, it's honestly up to you, but I like to run Hellion just for the extra damage. If you want to run Icarus Dash for movement, you can. If you want to run Heat Rises for melee energy, you can. I am a big hater of Heat Rises. I just hate the way it makes your character move, so I would not recommend this, but if you like it, you can definitely take it. But Icarus Dash and Hellion's for sure the best two ways to go, in my opinion. For melee, I like to snap because you can do the trick to where you snap on the ground, you can ignite enemies. I run well, but you can also run Song of Flame if you would like to as well. And then for the fragments, I like to run Ashes because it lets me apply more Scorch with everything in the build, which is great, leads to more ignitions. Next up is just Searing, so whenever I defeat a Scorch target, I get melee energy and I make a Fire Sprite, which is great because Fire Sprites grant grenade energy, so you can throw more fusion grenades. Alongside that, you're getting melee energy back. And then we can also take Ember of Mercy, so if we pick that Fire Sprite up that we made with Searing, we get Restoration, which is great. And then Empyrean, so whenever we get kills with a solar weapon or ability, we can extend Restoration and Radiant, so we're going to be able to keep our Restoration up forever alongside Radiant, which we'll have from the artifact because of things like Fever and Chill. So when we get rapid precision hits, we will be able to get Radiant. So that's pretty much the gist of the build, but since we are on the artifact, again, you can run things like Radiant Shrapnel, so you can cause Shrapnel to come out while you're Radiant. Shield Crush is obviously going to be very good because this buffs your grenade damage and recharge rate when you are Radiant, so you definitely want to take that. Things like Refreshing Threads, Elemental Coalescence is just great, so you can pick more Fire Sprites. You get more energy when you pick Fire Sprites up, so you can just spam grenades even more often. Things like Cauterized Darkness, if someone has a Stasis or a Strain debuff, now all your solar damage is just doing more, except on bosses. All of these are pretty good. Again, I have a whole dedicated video if you want to see that, where I go over everything in depth, show things off in the firing range. But honestly, I think most of y'all at this point probably know how Starfire works. But now let's actually get into the fun part of the video, and let's start talking about this brand new set bonus that comes from the Solstice armor. At the 2-piece, it says receiving healing temporarily grants your solar weapons increased flinch resistance, handling, and reload speed. And then at the 4-piece, it says rapid solar final blows heal you. All right, so if we come over to the shooting range, we can take a look at that 2-piece where it said if we receive healing, it's going to give us more reload speed, handling, and flinch resistance, which flinch doesn't really matter in PvE. But what's really cool is that any healing would do this. If we take a look here, this is our base reload speed. Now, if we actually come over here and take damage, you're going to see that the reload speed that you get from this is just crazy. Like, look at how much faster this reloads, and this is going to be active all the time because things like Heal Clip can proc it, things like Restoration can proc it, the armor set bonus itself can proc it, so you're just always going to have this 2-piece up, and you can basically just make any solar weapon you have just reload extremely quick all the time. It's honestly ridiculous once you get the kit rolling, which you've probably already seen in the gameplay. It is very, very quick. And now the other bonus is just that solar weapon final blows kill you. It takes around 3 kills to actually get the healing. And the healing isn't anything crazy. Think of something like a recuperation or maybe a little bit more. So as you see here, if we come get the kills real quick, just 3 rapid kills, you get a little bump, and then obviously the heal clip just healed it to full. But those little bumps will add up over time, and you can't keep proccing it. So say you're in a situation, you're just constantly slaying out over and over again. That means all these enemies you're killing, you're constantly just getting a little bump, bump, bump. It's basically just like a very hard nerf devour, but just for solar. But if you pair that with the restoration, the heal clip, if you are running a heal clip weapon or anything of the sort, you are quite literally unkillable. And then with the 2-piece also granting you just the increased, just quickness of everything, it becomes this crazy gameplay loop, and it is almost impossible for you to die. If you actually see here, the perk actually has run a 4 or 5 second timer, the Photo Galvanic perk right there that's taking down. And again, you can just keep reprocking this over and over once it's going down, so you're just going to always have these increased benefits 24/7, which is just ridiculous because you're always running solar stuff. Now I know you're probably asking, is the armor set bonus only for weapons even though it just says solar final blows? And I'm excited to say that this works with everything solar. As you see here, if we take some damage and I throw a nade right here, you will actually get that chunk of healing. So if you're running around just constantly throwing grenades, constantly meleeing, even your Hellions killing stuff over and over, all these are counting as solar kills, and they will stack up as rapid kills to keep giving you those chunks of healing over and over. So all in all, this armor set bonus is just honestly ridiculous with Starfire. I know the healing's not anything crazy, but I promise it will add up over time, and pairing that with all the other healing you have, you are just extremely tanky. And then even the 2-piece bonus, like, I don't want to sleep on the 2-piece bonus. I know it's nothing crazy, but getting that reload speed is great because it will allow you to just be able to have fast reload speed on weapons that typically wouldn't have reload speed based perks or anything of the sort, and also proc other things better. But now on the final thing for armor sets, I do want to mention some of the other ones. There really isn't anything for tech sec, but Bushido does work similar to what I was describing. So if you don't get something for Solstice, so if you get a final blow with a freshly drawn weapon or a reloaded weapon, you actually will heal. It's gonna be about the same thing, except the other one, obviously, you just got to get solar kills and heals you. This, you can kind of do anything, but with the other one, grenades can heal you, just slaying out in general heals you, whereas this, you have to have such a specific thing to actually heal you, whereas the other one is just play the game and it heals you. And then for the 4-piece, it only works for bows, shotguns, and swords, but the damage reduction obviously is good, but there really isn't any too crazy bow, shotgun, or sword that will work kind of well with the Starfire setup, in my opinion. So the 4-piece is kind of whatever here, and the 2-piece is just a lesser version of the other one, in my opinion. Now we also do have the last discipline armor, so whenever you get a final blow with the primary weapon, it will grant your primary weapons increase your reload speed. So again, kind of the same thing as the other one, but the other one is just fools you, grants reload speed, so you don't even have to get final blows. You just can heal with anything that we've already talked about, and you get it. So to me, the other armor set perk is better in that regard compared to this one, but this one does have, so if you pick up or power, you get special ammo, which is good. And if you like that, that definitely could be potentially better for a 4-piece than the heal. But I think the heal paired with everything else, it's just basically taking kind of parts of the other ones and then just making them better specifically for solar, and that's why it's just really good with Starfire. But then you have other ones like this. So basically, if you get rocket or grenade launcher kills, you can proc speed booster, and there's a mythic version that lets you get AoE damage reduction, I'm pretty sure. So if you're running something like a Baron action, you can proc both of those. Obviously that will play into this build, but they're just very specific. You also even have things like the raid armor, so basically you can make your radiant restoration last longer. You don't really need to do this because you have Empyrean, but obviously that's a thing too. But then you even have the Trials armor, so if you pick up a ammo brick, it can heal you, which again plays back into the heal. But once again, out of everything we've kind of just mentioned, it just seems like if you are specifically playing into solar, this is just the armor set to use. It just kind of does what a lot of the other things do, but just better, and it's a lot easier to proc. So for weapons with this build, the main thing is obviously you need to run a solar weapon because you want to proc things like Fever and Chill, But you can play into perks like Incandescent, which is obviously going to be very, very good. This will apply Scorch. It's very good for Act Clear. The Scorch will play into everything into the subclass. And then another perk obviously is going to be Heal Clip, which we've already talked about a little bit. Every time you reload, it's going to apply Cure to you. Again, that Cure will heal you. That healing will count towards the armor set bonus to proc the 2-piece set. And since you are getting increased reload speed, essentially what's going on is that you are basically getting a kill to heal yourself to proc the 2-piece armor set, and then the 2-piece armor set is helping you reproc Heal Clip because you get increased reload speed, and you could just keep doing it over and over again. The brand new SMG Yurtad Apex is just by far the best weapon in my opinion to pair with this build. It is another Solstice weapon. It's very obviously Solstice themed here, but it is just so good with the Heal Clip Incandescent. It reloads super quick, and it is just a ton of fun to use. Now, obviously, there's other weapons, you know, Heal Clip Incandescent on a Baron Action. You know, you can get it on things like Luna's Howl, whatever you would like to do. Even if you want to run the new hand cannon with Incandescent, that can also work. And even if you want to run any exotic, that can also work as well. I'm thinking of things like Sunshot. I'm thinking of things like Tommy's Matchbook. Thinking of things like Polaris Lance. Anything of the sort here. All of this will work extremely well with this setup. I just think for neutral play, having a Heal Clip Incandescent for your survivability to help reproc the armor set, and then the Incandescent to help also proc things in the subclass up here, it's just too strong to not take advantage of. And again, this brand new SMG just pairs so amazing with this. I can't even describe at how good it pairs with this. It's just so good. I honestly can make a whole video about this if you would like to see that. Just talk about why it is just so good and everything that you can go into and all the like the exact god roll I'm looking out for. It's very good. I would definitely recommend trying to get one of this because it just synergizes so well with the armor set. But again, any Heal Clip Incandescent weapon will, and if you prefer another one, definitely be sure to just take that as well. The other added little bonus is that this thing also has crazy ammo regeneration. You can't actually see it. Let me move my camera. So I'm currently at 81 with the enhanced abundant ammo mod on here. So you get ammo pretty quick with this. I think it's at 69 normally, then you put the mod on, it goes to 89. It's very, very good. For other weapons, obviously Mint Retrograde is just so good. Like, you could just swap to this, take out any tank you target, pairing this with a fusion grenade. You can honestly just use fusion grenades and Mint Retrograde as your DPS. You don't even really need to take a heavy, but then obviously for any heavy, just any new gear bonus works, eager edge works, whatever you would like. Finality's Augur is very nice because it is actually part of new gear, and it kind of works like Anarchy to where it is just going to keep constantly shooting. So say you're standing in your Well of Radiance, that means you're going to be constantly proccing Starfire over and over again to keep throwing fusion grenades. And so while that's kind of shooting a boss, you can keep just throwing fusion grenades, keep shooting Mint Retrograde, and it can actually do a decent amount of damage. So I'll give a little demonstration here. You pop our Hellion, we'll pop our well down. We can shoot our turret somewhere over here and then just let it shoot the boss. And now while it's doing that, it can constantly just kind of regen grenades. As you see, it's just kind of ticking up. I'm not even doing anything, but obviously you can keep shooting Mint Retrograde with this as well. And you can kind of just do this as kind of like a DPS option here. And then one final reason I would actually run this is because it is an SMG. With this specific season, we do have overload SMGs, so we can start overloads with the weapon here. We typically are always running Mint Retrograde so we can have access to Barrier, which is nice, but Radiant will also grant you access to Barrier if you run anything else that doesn't have champion mod on it. And then for the unstops, we can basically just use our subclass to cause ignitions over and over again with everything, and that will stun the unstop. So you have access to every champion, and you really don't even have to stress about it at all. But now I actually want to start talking about the armor sets and what you should be on the lookout for. Now, stat wise, obviously with a Starfire build, you're going to want to have 200 grenade. You get the most recharge, you get the most damage. It's very good. Now, if you want to go a little lower, say something like 180, obviously you can take some font mods and that will get it to 200, but you want to have something to shoot for 200. I would then also highly recommend 100 super, because super is just one of the strongest stats in the game right now. You can spam supers all the time. If you have 100, you don't really need to go over 100 because your well is not doing damage. I guess if you are running something like Song of Flame, you could, but I typically just run well all the time. And then for the last stat, definitely go into weapons, because since this is also a very weapon focused build, since you're going to be radiant all the time and you want to do weapon damage to get your grenades back with Starfire, weapons is obviously going to be a very good choice. You don't need class ability at all, because Starfire will actually give you your class ability energy back whenever you get a fusion grenade kill. I forgot to mention that in the first part of the video, but I imagine most of you probably already know that. But you actually don't need any class ability, sort of like the hunter where you have to have 70 to get your melee back when you use your dodge. That is not really a thing on the warlock. You get it back regardless. And then melee, you don't really need it either, because you do have things like Ember of Searing granting your melee back. And then health is pretty much a dead stat, but having the orb pickup is nice because you will be able to make orbs a lot with this build. So being able to just have that health on top of everything else that heals you is very, very good. However, the really cool part about the health stat, or picking up orbs, is that it will actually proc the armor set bonus as well. So again, you don't need to get that much stat in there to do that, but I just wanted to point out that even picking up orbs will actually proc this armor set bonus too, which is really cool. But now let's take a closer look at just the stats on the armor. As you see, I do have all tier 5, and to get a stat set like this, which can be better, which we'll talk about here in a second, I had to go with a Grenadier, and 1 Gunner. Now, I could theoretically get this up to 100 weapons, which is what I want to do. I want 200 grenade, 100 super, 100 weapons. Now for the gunner one, this one is going to be focused on weapons and grenade. The other stat I have is class. If I could swap this out for something like health, I would definitely do so. I don't particularly need super with this setup, but if you do in your build, obviously that could go to super, so be sure to keep that in mind. And if you were curious what those 3 little lines are beside grenade, what that is actually the masterworking part. So you actually have to also kind of pray to RNG that you get a masterwork option that you want. Luckily for this one, I did get grenade, so I can swap out any stat I don't care about, something like class ability, because you don't really need it with Starfire, and get more grenade. So be able to look out for that as well. Now for the Grenadier right here, obviously this is going to be focused on grenade and super, so this is going to be a main part of the build. So you could get a bunch of this Grenadier armor to get these stats. So at tier 5, and if you get lucky with some other stuff, you should be able to get things up relatively high, and then obviously with tier 5 you can get it pretty much perfect. So with this one, I ended up getting grenade, super, and class. So I would definitely want to get a weapon in this spot over class, because that would basically just give me, say that 15 class right there would give me 15 weapons, so I could go to 85. So as you see here, like if I had better rolled armor, which I would probably still try to farm for, because I would love to be able to get to 100 weapons, it is still possible. Now for the Starfire, I have grenade, super, health. Again, we can move the health down to weapons, so I can get more weapons. I don't really care about the health stat. For the leg armor, I have grenade, super, health. Again, I could move that health to the weapons if I get lucky, since it is kind of just, the left out stat. And then at that point, with these 3 going to weapons right here, I would have 200, 100, 100. But unfortunately, I just did not get those drops quite yet. For the bond, I do actually have a grenade, super, weapons. So that is obviously very, very good. So when you are farming for these, definitely be on the lookout for grenade, super, weapons. That is what you want to look out for the most. But also keep in mind that if you do get the 3 little dots here, you can actually min-max with the artifact bonuses with tier 5 armor, so you can actually kind of balance stuff out. So as you see here, I did actually take 5 of my super away to get me to 70 weapons, since I didn't really need 105 super. So again, it is taking away a stat I need. Just to keep that in mind, like you can take away stats that you need even if you have extra, which I did in this setup. But again, you still do have to get lucky with getting these 3 little dots, because I think I did have one, which this one's on super, so that's honestly pretty good, but this one has health. So this is a good piece of arms, but like the extra stats on health. So unfortunately, any artifact thing I do here, like I took out class and went to health, which is better because again, you don't need class with this, but I would much rather have that stat bonus somewhere else, so I could actually min-max the stats that I want. So that's a little thing. I wish they would change that, but that's just the way it is right now. But I hope I explained that well enough to kind of give you an idea of what to look out for. If you're going for the perfect setup like I'm trying to get here, it's definitely 4 Grenadier, 1 Gunner, and you want to always try to focus on grenade, super, melee. Post-editing rest here, I meant to say grenade, super, weapons, not grenade, super, melee. Definitely focus on grenade, super, weapons. Don't know why I said that, probably because I'm sleep deprived and still working on this video, but definitely focus on grenade, super, weapons. And then always be on the lookout for the 3 little dots, just so you can min-max anything that you don't care about. just so you can get it up as high as possible. And then if you were curious about the armor mods, I mean, this is what I'm running. It's pretty much the exact same as my other video, but you know, Ashes and Dynamo for more super energy. With 100 super, you literally get your super quick. No pun intended right there. But Harmonic Siphon, so obviously we can make orbs with our solar weapon. Harmonic Loader, so we can reload our solar weapon faster. With things like Hill Clip, that means you're going to proc the armor set bonus faster. We're going to transfer bolster detonations. When we deal damage to the grenade, we get melee and class ability energy. Always resistant mods. Obviously swap this out for content you're going into. I'm still going to say that in this video. I know it's a running meme, but other than that, innovation, orbs of restoration, absolution, again, just picking orbs up, you're getting crazy grenade energy, and then energy for just everything alongside that. With the fire sprites you make, you just always have grenades. Bomber, so class ability grants grenade, your grenade grants class ability. The yin and yang, they synergize. On top of that, obviously using your class ability is very good. You also have powerful attraction, so you can pick all the orbs up around you. I do our Phoenix Dive. I think I actually forgot to mention that, but Phoenix Dive is by far the best with this. And then special finisher, just so I can make more special when I have max armor charge stacks, because again, having more special for Mint Retrograde is so good, because just shooting those fusion grenades just does so much damage. But for the final part of the video, if you were curious, this is the Transmog I'm running. I just found out that they added a quote-unquote rest assured theme shader here with the whole blue and purple. It's a little bit more pink than purple, but obviously kind of has like the same color scheme that my actual channel art has. So I had to get it. I think it actually looks really cool, and this is for sure a shader I'm going to be running a lot more often now. But I took advantage of the Starfire ornament. I tried to make him look like a bird in a sense, but I think it turned out looking pretty cool. So if you want to make your Warlock look like this, definitely be sure to copy it down. Anyway though, that is going to do it all for me. I think it is finally time for me to go get some rest after I've been in the Caldera mines for so long. I'm going to edit this video, maybe do a little workout before I go to sleep, but other than that, it's honestly been pretty fun actually getting tier 5s. I'm happy Bungie actually made a change and let us actually go for tier 5, since these weapons are only going to be here for now. You have to wait a year to get them. Also the armor set, with the armor set being very good. So definitely be sure to get out there. It has never been a perfect time to actually start farming for tier 5s, or even getting your light level up, because getting these extra drops on these Solstice weapons and armor pieces can level you up a lot quicker as well. I know it is still not the most fun thing to do if you're just farming solo ops over and over again, but it is the most efficient. And if you want to try this out and get the setup, I would definitely recommend doing that, especially before the event goes away. If you made it this far in the video, I wish you the best of luck with putting this together for yourself. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you'll have a great day. Peace.